Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. My name's Arthur. Thank you for joining me as we turn to Genesis chapter 5. We have a very important chapter here which lists the 10 generations from Adam to Noah, and the 7th of those is Enoch. What we can do with these, because we have the age at birth of the next one in the list, and because we have the age of Noah at the time of the flood, we're able to work out the time period between creation and the flood, 1656 years. This period of time, most of the people lived over 900 years. Of course, it had been God's original intention for people to live forever, but sin came in, and so God assigned every man to death. And it is appointed unto men once to die, the New Testament reminds us. So Christ also had to die. Now this is concerning the physical death, because it is the physical earth that was cursed. That curse continues to apply today, and so death continues today. So the physical world was cursed, and man, his physical body, must die. Well, let's read our chapter together. There are several important points that we can make from it. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them, male and female, and blessed them, and called them mankind in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begot a son in his own likeness, after his image, and named him Seth. After he begot Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. Seth lived 105 years, and begot Enosh. After he begot Enosh, Seth lived 807 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. Enosh lived 90 years, and begot Canaan. And after he begot Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. Canaan lived 70 years, and he begot Mahalaleel. After he begot Mahalaleel, Canaan lived 840 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. Mahalaleel lived 65 years, and begot Jared. After he begot Jared, Mahalaleel lived 830 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalaleel were 895 years, and he died. Jared lived 162 years, and begot Enoch. After he begot Enoch, Jared lived 800 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. After he begot Methuselah, Enoch walked with God 300 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Methuselah lived 187 years, and begot Lamech. After he begot Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Lamech lived 182 years, and begot a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, This one will comfort us concerning our work, and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord has cursed. After he begot Noah, Lamech lived 595 years, and begot sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And may the Lord bless these words to us this morning. It is repeated in the first few verses, in the day that God created man. So there is one particular day, it was the sixth day of creation, that God made man, male and female. We have the details of forming Adam first, and then later in the day forming Eve from Adam in Genesis chapter 2. And we have this word, God created man in his own likeness. That is body, soul and spirit. A body to relate to the world, a soul to relate to one another and to be self-conscious, and a spirit to relate to God. And God blessed the man and the woman that he'd made. We then have these 10 generations from Adam. These 10 generations is just one line that came through. It was a line of godliness, not that we're told that each of these people had faith, but we find one in particular does have faith. Because the general formula for each of these names is, say, Seth lived 105 years and begot Enosh. So the age when the next son in the genealogy was born. Not necessarily the first one, but the one that is the key to this chain that leads to Noah. Because obviously Seth was not the firstborn of Adam and Eve, because we already know of Cain and Abel. They were born much earlier. But in the line, Seth is the one who is key in this line, and so Adam's age when Seth was born is given. And then we're told that he lived so many years after that, and begot sons and daughters. So he continued to produce children through his long life, and all of them have that phrase, and begot sons and daughters. So the total years of their life was, and it gives the total. So by giving 3 numbers, 2 which add up to a third, we have this checksum idea to make sure that the numbers are transmitted accurately across the centuries. Now, we then have the list of names, and the names are repeated in a systematic way so that the genealogy is well linked. This information would have been written on a tablet, which would have been passed down from Noah through Shem to Abraham, ultimately to Moses, who recorded it in his book of Genesis. The key thing is that Adam overlapped with Methuselah, and Methuselah lasted until the end of the age. Methuselah was the longest lived of all, living 696 years, and he died in the year that the flood came. And so Peter talks about the long suffering of God in the days of Noah. So everybody had the opportunity of either knowing Adam or knowing someone, namely Methuselah, who had known Adam. Even though the world population grew tremendously because these people continued to produce children throughout their lives, and they continued to live for a long time. So they were alive for 7 generations. Adam saw his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren. So the world population at the time of Noah was very large. Now, the standout thing about Enoch was that instead of just saying Enoch lived so many years, it says concerning Enoch, Enoch walked with God 300 years. Walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Enoch didn't die, he was translated to heaven. The New Testament highlights this in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 5, where it says he was translated so that he would not see death. So these names were real people. This is real history, and it's part of the history of the world when the world environment was considerably better than it is today. much milder, and when genetic defects, which we all carry around in us now in a very large extent, had not developed, and so the body was able to live in this environment for a much longer period of time. But we'll see as we turn to the next chapter that while it might live, it was not a happy time. That's even suggested in the words that Lamech spoke concerning Noah, one to comfort us concerning the work and toil of our hands because of the ground which the Lord has cursed. The people of the world that time lived very much in rebellion against God. But there was a family that God kept his eye on, and Enoch was a witness to the grace of God and the love of God, and he bore testimony to God and the judgment that was coming on the world. That judgment came in the days of Noah.